Hi everyone, this is Julia.
And I'm Philip.
So today we want to present to you our Guam market analysis, present to you as Middlebridge Holdings LLC, which is our LLC.
Yep. Yeah. So this was something that honestly Julia did a lot of the work on at the beginning of this year while I was over in Japan working away. And it was kind of inspired after we bought our first property in Guam. We really fell in love with the market there and yeah, wanted to explore syndications. And if you don't know what that is, basically having other people invest money. So you present to them all of the information they would want to know, and then they give you the money and you go invest and make money for both of you.
And
So
just some
yeah.
context, so for our property is a two-bed, two-bath condo. It's in a very nice area in Guam, pretty much central Guam, 200K. And we did a portfolio loan, and this is the first time ever we applied a loan. And as 223-year-old, the bank don't really trust you that much. So our loan do have a higher term. We did 25% down payment, 4% fixed interest rate for 7 years and become fixed rate. And then we did 15 years term.
Yeah, so it's called an ARM, if you know what that is, an adjustable rate mortgage. So it's not ideal, which is why we opted for the shorter time frame, 15 years. But it isn't adjustable until after 7. So worst case scenario, if they want to jack the rates up on us, we could hopefully just pay it off in 7 years. But yeah, it wasn't a very big property, only 200K. I mean, obviously, like, I don't know, that might be big or small for you, but yeah.
Yeah. And so like Guam is such an amazing market. Our house has a 12% cap rate. Just to give a context, in the state, the profit margin is so compressed right now. You're lucky if you find above 5% cap rate.
Mhm.
And for us, we find above 10% cap rate, basically all over the market in Guam. So even with a higher mortgage payment, 10% property management fee we pay every month, we still make about $400 for our condo every month, just free income cash flow $400. And again,
Yep.
that's why we love the market so much, and we want to give you the market
Yeah,
analysis
so we're just going to
presentation.
run through this kind of quick. If you guys want to pause the video, feel free at any point in time. We're just going to kind of summarize as we go. So just kind of starting with the Guam market overview, you can give this a read. This is where we really put in those good statistics that people want to know about, like, what is the population, the unemployment rate, the growth, the average prices, what kind of beds and baths do people like, all that kind of good information is in here.
Mhm. And we just want to highlight that the population growth is 4.6% the past decade. This is something you want to see. People are constantly moving into Guam, and the housing stock increased 10% in the last 10 years. And as you can see, that the supply is like basically the same, but the demand is definitely increasing.
Yes, you wouldn't want something like California where it has a negative population growth because everyone's leaving.
And just wanted to show you on the map where Guam is at. For a lot of people, before we tell them about our investment in Guam, they've never heard of this little tiny island in the middle of Pacific before. So as you can see on the globe, here's Hawaii to the west, and then here's Japan to the east. So Guam is pretty much very close
It's
to.
other way around. So north, east, southwest. But yeah, that's not important. But yeah, as you can see, Japan is really centrally located. So Hawaii off to the east, Japan over to the west. But yeah, I honestly didn't even know where Guam was at until like we were closing on this house. And I was like, I should probably look up where this is at. I knew it was like over in the middle of the ocean somewhere. But yeah, it's we'll get into it more later, but it's like very nicely located.
Mhm.
You can see here a little breakdown of all their different districts, I guess,
Yeah, all
or
the villages, that's what they
villages.
call them. And then
Yeah.
on the top and the bottom is like less developed. And on the center, as you can see, the smaller provinces are more developed with the international airport and everything.
Tourism is super big in Guam. We'll throw a few facts at you in a minute. But yeah, just kind of continuing on here. So tourism, they're pulling in about $1 billion in 2019 before COVID, and
Getting about 2 million visitors.
yeah, a little
And
under 2
again,
million.
if you read the slide earlier, the whole population in Guam is about 200,000 people. So for such a tiny island with 200,000 people, they're like receiving about like 1.67 million visitors per year. That's just crazy.
Yeah, a lot. And a little thing to highlight here at the bottom there, it's like a little piece of America for a lot of Asian visitors from South Korea, Thailand, Vietnam, China, that can come over to Guam and just enjoy like a little American shopping
Mhm.
instead of going all the way to the US.
So
So
here we have a little picture. So
yeah.
basically, if like those Asian people, me included, were to buy any luxury goods, doesn't matter, it's like your Louis Vuitton purse or your Rolex or your Gucci belt in like their own country, there's a very hefty tax posted by America and by their own country. But if they were to come to Guam and buy it, it's
Yep.
tax free.
Easy day. And moving on with the military. So the military in Guam, obviously why we were interested in it. That's why we wanted to explore Guam. Has a very big impact there. Just you can kind of pause here and read through it if you want. But so just a few facts here we want to highlight. Dependents continue to make up approximately 15% of households in Guam. That's a big number. Like one less than 1% of all Americans are military, but then they're making out like 15% of everyone on Guam. Like that's a big
Mhm.
military influence there. But yeah, just
Yeah, and
anything
I
else you want
want
to
to
highlight?
highlight the last like bullet point,
Yeah.
the overseas housing allowance, so OHA, which for a lot of people, if especially if you're not in the military, you won't know this term. It's a very
Mhm.
niche market. And OHA is a monthly stipend provided to military service men or women stationed overseas outside the continental US. Guam, even though it is US territory, is considered as overseas. It is very high to support military housing choice in upper end or downtown of any real estate market. So like again, this is like unless you're stationed overseas as military, you will not know this market. Just very high. It's like almost disproportional
Yeah.
for how much you spend.
Yeah, you get a lot more money. And the one little thing is like the military is use or lose. So they don't really
Mhm.
care how much the rent is as long as it's within the stipend. Whereas in the US, they get to keep the extra if it is over. So it's
Right.
incentive for us to explore like markets that have OHA
So we
for
all
military.
so sometimes I joke around and say that the OHA is a high-end Section 8. You know, like it's
Yeah.
the same concept as Section 8. The government directly pays the landlord. So
Yep.
you as
Yep.
a renter don't get anything.
Yep.
So
Exactly.
you again, you have no incentive to
Yeah.
bargain.
So yeah, it's kind of a messed up market, but you can kind of take advantage of it a little bit, which
Very
is
lucrative.
yeah,
That's
very
a better
lucrative.
word.
Yes, there we go. But yeah, so just kind of going into the military installations here, if you want to read through this. But
Mhm.
yeah, so the main things there right now are the Air Force Base on the north end and the Naval Base on the south end. They've been there for quite a while, and so there are about 7,000 military personnel on Guam. So yeah. And then here we got a little map of what we just talked about. The Air Force Base, the Naval Base, the Marine Corps Base is going to be right up there, right near the Air Force Base, right?
Yes, so other than the Naval Base and the Air Force Base, Marine Corps Base is also moving to Guam, which will bring in over 5,000 Marines, to Guam. And this is not counting their family members and other civilian workers and contractors that will also like go to Guam.
Yeah, so that 7,000 number is almost going to double, basically, like if not more.
Mhm. Okay, so like you kind of touch again on what we talk about, and then you see the screenshot
Yep.
on the bottom. That's from the Marine Corps website. It is official like source, so we are not
Yeah,
just
so we're
it's not
like
a
backing
hearsay.
ourselves up here, saying
Mhm.
that we're showing that Marines coming to Guam. And here we're kind of talking about the number of units that are going to be needed over the years as more people move to
Yeah,
Guam.
and
So
then so like Marine Corps has been stationed in Okinawa, Japan for like decades, and Japan as a like country, they really don't want us to be there. And we like Marine has been saying that they're leaving Okinawa for years, for like 20, 30 years. And finally they opened the base, as you can see here, on October 1st, 2020. And on this slide, it says that Marine Corps will actually move over from 2022
yeah.
to 2026.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not all going to happen all at once. It's a very slow process as the
Mhm.
military and the government are slow. So it goes hand
Yeah.
in hand. Yeah.
And so if our whole basically market analysis and our investment strategy is based on military people stationed in Guam, I think a lot of investors might ask, what if the military leave? And here is what we want to say, like
Yeah.
our thought behind this. US military is there to stay.
Exactly. Just answering those questions before they even ask them to give them like that warm and fuzzy feeling, that reassurance. But yeah. So, kind of cool here at the bottom, Guam is like a permanent aircraft carrier. Obviously, it's a lot bigger than an aircraft carrier, but it is like out there in the middle of the ocean. And the military sees that as a great advantage to have, over near
Mhm.
like North Korea, China, all these like trouble areas that they want to definitely
Not
keep
trouble
involved in. Depends
areas.
on how you look at it. But yeah, hoo-yah, Navy.
Huya, huya, ra.
Yeah, and then besides the military, we just wanted to throw in like a little extra stuff you can look into. So low income and senior housing,
Mhm.
nursing homes, are definitely more scarce in Guam, I'd say.
Like there's
Yeah.
no permanent care facility for the elderly in Guam. So again, there's a lot of opportunities. Some of you guys might argue that Guam is too small for a large like healthcare facility. However, there's just nothing like that in Guam right now. And also there's a huge need for Section 8 program in Guam. There's a very large, like a long wait list, and there's a very high percentage of voucher use rate in Guam for Section 8. So bottom line, Guam needs like has so much more opportunity and needs more.
Yeah, exactly. So our last slide here, just advantages of investing in Guam. You can kind of read through those. Just a few perks. Low property tax is always great. Yeah.
So
more
like the
slides.
property tax is so low, it's just amazing. Like a lot of American like homeland investors are just amazed how little we pay. For
Mhm.
$200,000 houses, we pay around like $300 per year for property tax. We're not joking. So we pay less than 0.5% for property tax. And if you're over 65 years old, there's an 80% discount. So if you're like elderly investor, like a retired investor, you're paying zero property tax in Guam.
Basically, yeah.
And then
But
you
yeah.
still have all the tax advantages. You can still apply for depreciation for your houses.
Yes, and you can read through the rest of the points. We kind of covered a lot of them in our talk, but yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed our video. It was just a really quick run through of what we were looking to present earlier this year and still honestly looking to do. We're working with several people right now. Just honestly, in the beginning, it's just a lot of networking, and that's what we found has been the most difficult, honestly. Like even if you have your numbers ready to go and you have everything lined up, you have to know those people and have those connections to make it happen. Yeah.
And honestly, it's just a little bit hard for us because we've never done a syndication deal before. This is
Yes.
our like first loan, our first real investment property. And then I guess just a quick side note for like finances, there's no like institutional finance in Guam, so there's no Freddie Mac or Fannie Mae, but there are a lot of local lenders like Bank of Hawaii. We use a local lender, like just a loan company.
Bank of Hawaii, local lender.
Yeah, however, it's still very similar. The
Very
process
close.
is much easier than investing in Japan, which is our other investment
Yeah,
market.
investing in Japan was a great time. We'll probably talk a lot more about that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And are we drinking? Yes, we are. Cheers.
Yes.
Hope you enjoyed this video.
Yeah, please like and subscribe. And yeah, let us know if you have any questions in the comment section. But yeah, we'll catch you guys in the next one.